I'm going to talk about a topic that makes me very angry, which is why I'm wearing my angry shirt today, but I'm going to do my best to remain calm and composed.
We need to talk about the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I recently decided to rewatch the old Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame movie for the first time in many years. It was a Saturday night, I had nothing else to do, and I was surprised by two things. One, I forgot how good this movie is. If you ask me, it's one of Disney's best movies.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
And two, it has a horrible ending.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Despite being one of the more underrated Disney films today, it was a commercial success at the time. Those movie tickets were selling like hotcakes.
Ooh, that's a hot cake.
And some of the reviews it got at the time were really positive. Even famed movie reviewer Roger Ebert loved the movie. Isn't that right, Roger?
This is the best animated, the best written, the best thought through Disney picture since The Beauty and the Beast.
And those songs are pretty good too.
Well, I figured that out. Thanks a lot.
Sorry. So to quickly recap, the movie is about Quasimodo, a man who was born with physical deformities. He was adopted by an evil priest named Frollo and now spends his days hiding up in a bell tower because he's afraid that if the townspeople ever saw him, they would revile him, which actually does end up happening. Can't really blame the guy for being worried about it. He meets and falls in love with a beautiful woman named Esmeralda, but the conflict is that Esmeralda is in love with a knight named Phoebus, who is more classically handsome in a non-deformed sort of way. So it's at this point in the movie I'm thinking, okay, it's a Disney movie, obviously Quasimodo's going to get the girl, and the message at the end is going to be, it's not what's on the outside that counts, true beauty's on the inside, we get it. So the movie goes on. Esmeralda gets kidnapped by Frollo, almost gets killed. Quasimodo saves her life, he becomes the town hero, and finally, at the end of the movie, Esmeralda ends up with Phoebus. Quasimodo doesn't get the girl? Not only doesn't get her, but seems to be happy for her relationship with Phoebus. In the last scene, the two of them kiss each other while Quasimodo just stands there smiling like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm sorry, what is the message of this movie? Because it seems like the message is, if you're too ugly, there's no hope for you. Now, of course, some people argue that the message is actually that sometimes you don't get what you want in life, and that's okay. Being a good person is more important than just getting the girl. And I think that's a great message that Disney could have put in any of their movies. They put it in the movie about the ugly guy. When you look at the big picture, they're really making a point about just how repulsive he is. In the Disney universe, even animals are pulling girls. In the Beauty and the Beast, a wolf man gets the girl. In the Princess and the Frog, a frog gets the girl. The fucking goat in this movie's got a better shot at Esmeralda than Quasimodo does. No wonder the guy's so strong. He's probably up in that bell tower beating off all day. He's got incel strength. And not only does the ugly guy in the movie not get what he wants, they put a hot guy in the movie who does. It kind of makes the whole message ring a little hollow. You know, Quasimodo, it's important to remember that life is full of disappointments. Now please excuse me while I get everything I want. I mean, it's not like this is a new concept for Quasimodo. He was born with a horrible deformity, his parents are gone, he was raised by an abusive priest, he spent his whole life being a social outcast, and the lesson you want him to learn now is that life can be disappointing? I think he already got the message. Now let's look at it from Esmeralda's perspective. Obviously, a woman is not obligated to be with a man even if he saves her life. She can be with anyone she chooses for any reason. That's her prerogative. And that is the correct way to say that word. You say it wrong. It is a woman's prerogative to be with anyone of her choice, and Esmeralda falling for Phoebus is the more realistic scenario. But I'm not here for realism. If I wanted realism, I'd watch something real and authentic, like reality TV. This is a fantasy, and it's Disney. Aren't they supposed to make people's dreams come true? Also, it's not so absurd that a woman like Esmeralda would be into Quasimodo. He's got a lot of good qualities. He's heroic, he's kind, and also, I don't mean to be crass here, but you know this dude is packing. I mean, look at this guy. That is a girthy man. I feel like it's part of his whole deformity, you know, like he's got a hunchback, a messed up face, and just like an abnormally huge and maybe it's also deformed. It might have a hunchback of its own, but you know it's huge. Phoebus isn't the only one with a sword, if you know what I mean. This gargoyle isn't the only fat hog in town, if you know what I mean. Hunchback of Notre Dame, if you know what I mean. Now you could argue that the movie is just following the original book by Victor Hugo. The book version of Esmeralda is also besotted with Phoebus, and just like in the movie, she doesn't end up with Quasimodo. But she doesn't end up with Phoebus either. She's hanged to death. The only guy she ends up with is the Grim Reaper. So what I'm saying is, guys, we're already making changes to the story here. Why not just let Quasimodo get the girl? 6 years after the release of Hunchback, it got a direct-to-video sequel where Quasimodo is now accepted by the townspeople, but he still lives up in the bell tower for some reason. I mean, after all they put him through, they couldn't like band together and buy him a normal home. I guess when they picked him up and carried him away at the end of the first movie, they were just bringing him back to the bell tower. Okay, it was crazy. I think I left my stove on. Phoebus and Esmeralda occasionally visit Quasimodo and continue to kiss each other right in front of him, and they both seem to be happy and healthy, except Esmeralda appears to have developed a medical condition where her skin tone fluctuates wildly. Quasimodo meets a new girl who he falls in love with, and at long last, he finally does get the girl. And to that I say, no, Disney. No! I don't accept this. Too little, too late. You did my boy dirty. You can't just force feed me this crappy sequel and make it all okay. No! I don't want it! The only sequel I'll accept is one where Quasimodo gets Esmeralda. In fact, I'll help you get started. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. You know, Quasimodo, I've actually always had a thing for freaks of nature. Really? Yes. Now kiss me, you misshapen hunk. Well, you get the idea. By the way, I asked ChatGPT for examples of Disney movies that had both human and animal protagonists, and one of the movies it gave was The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which it described as the story of Quasimodo, a hunchback who is befriended by the beautiful Esmeralda, a human. I guess hunchback is its own species now. I want to see that on one of those nature documentaries.
The hunchback, in its natural habitat, emerges from its bell tower, where it is promptly mocked by the townspeople and pelted with fruits and vegetables.
Anyway, that's my rant about Hunchback. I think I covered everything I wanted to say, but if I think of anything else I forgot to talk about, I'll add it in later. I forgot to mention, Disney's next big animated release after Hunchback was Hercules, where the hero is handsome again, like usual, and he does get the girl. They went right back to the old formula, and we're supposed to believe they're not pushing a message about physical beauty? I don't normally do commentary videos, so if you like this, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell.